Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome from my side. Welcome to the Canton of Zurich, or State of Zurich, as we have an international audience. It's my pleasure to give you an overview about what the region of Zurich can offer to companies like you. And it's a great pleasure for us also to support the IoT Inspire. It's a great, or the number one networking platform that accelerates or fosters companies that want to make a step forward and foster their digitalization efforts. I will cover the technology ecosystem Canton of Zurich and give you a broader overview. And at the end, you will also have the opportunity to ask questions. In my work, I support companies interested in Switzerland or Europe. And a lot of these companies, they want to tap into the innovation of Switzerland, into the innovation and talent pool that we have here, because they know that Switzerland is a global innovation leader. As you can see here on the left side, from a lot of rankings, usually Switzerland ranks top. But when they look at the region, so where exactly in Switzerland, then you can see that Greater Zurich also can compete really with the best locations worldwide. I mean, San Francisco still is the number one. Many locations try to copy it, but it's still number one. Then Boston, also Munich, very strong, a big competitor. But also Copenhagen, Amsterdam is pretty strong, because also cost structure, of course, Dublin, London, Berlin. So this is usually the locations that we help companies to evaluate which is the best location. And this is also my job then to guide them. So, and we also have a team working in the US or in China and being in contact with the companies that scale up. And once they want to enter the European market, we help them to find an ideal location. As I said, and within Switzerland, we usually also use this slide. It's from a Swiss bank, UBS, that compares the Swiss states, the cantons. And you can see this is the criteria that they use is here a lot of economic structure, innovation, human capital, and a lot of others. And usually the best is since many years Zug, Canton of Zug, which is here. And then Basel with pharma and Zurich. And as you can see here, central Switzerland really is quite competitive within Switzerland. But also here, Western Switzerland, Lausanne, here is the EPFL also present. This is the ETH in the French-speaking part. So many international companies decided to come here. I will point out the tech companies mainly. IBM already joined in the 60s because of collaboration with our universities, and also Microsoft is here since, I think, about 30 years already with 850 people. And then we have new projects like Magic Leap. They acquired the ETH spin-off company Takuda and are in the field of augmented reality. So Takuda was a company that made a mouse that you could scan. So you could use your sheet and move the mouse over the sheet, and then you had to scan. But today, of course, they scan whole rooms, high-resolution rooms, and this tech company from the US, Magic Leap, acquired the company. But also you see Facebook, Apple. Google actually was our division's economic development division supported them 15 years ago. And there was only 3 people here. Some of the people in administration say, yeah, this internet is a hype. But of course it wasn't. And now it's more than 6,000 employees here. And I don't know if you know that YouTube and Google Maps were mainly developed out of Switzerland. And the Zuglers, how they call themselves, they call it the real mountain view. And of course, you can imagine that these many people are also interesting for other companies, like Microsoft. Around Microsoft, you have a lot of companies that also partner with Microsoft. So it's kind of an open innovation ecosystem that is established through these companies. And also Google, I have project companies spin out of automotive companies that are only interested in some people, maybe Google Maps people, to have them as a team on board to develop future developments, maybe the projection in the windshield for future cars. And it's great that these things are happening in Zurich. And these companies, mainly, I mentioned it, come because of the academic excellence. And these universities and universities of applied science are here today. So use the chance to make connection. You see the ETH, the Swiss Federal Technical Institute, it's the #1 on continental Europe. Worldwide, it ranks #6. That's impressive. In computer science, worldwide #1. Mechanical engineering #4 worldwide. So it's really a university that a lot of companies didn't have heard of. And when we connect, in some project they said, we got the answer of the professor exactly what we were looking for. So it's really amazing what is happening here. And also at the University of Zurich, the biggest university in Switzerland, and the University of Applied Science, but also at EMPA, this is a former institute of the ETH, and also CSM that will have a presentation and is here, and others. And the aim of the government is really that the research that is done at this university is not only published and in magazines and so it's really entering into the markets. So the aim of the government, the Canton of Zurich, is that end of the day, it's innovation in the market. So this is really then up to you, and our job is to connect you. And this is why this conference here is absolutely great opportunity to connect you with this academic excellence. Here you see the ranking, #6. And so this is what made Switzerland so strong also, the university-industry collaboration. And we have also a federal program, which is called InnoSwiss, which is very strong. So I give you the basic idea. It's that you connect to a professor or a university. This is the first start. You define the research project together. You apply for federal funding. And you have within 1 month a decision. The jury meets monthly. That's very quick if you compare to others. And then the financing is about 50-50. And the IP stays on your side. So this is the government in Switzerland is really fostering this innovation going into the markets. So please use this, and I'll be happy to connect you to also access these kind of programs. Then it's not only the big tech, it's also the startups that are very interesting, the spin-outs, of course, spin-offs coming off of the university. And you see Zurich is home of more than 60% of the top 10 and more than 50% of the top 100 Swiss startups. In COVID crisis, actually, Zurich profited a lot. You can see in 2021 rose by more than 100%. The venture capital investment here, this is the Canton of Zurich. If you take the share of Switzerland, then it's Canton of Vaud. As I said, here is the ETH, the EPFL present, and then Basel and Canton of Zug. So this all together, the big tech, the startups, the spin-offs, make a great innovation ecosystem. And then we also have, like an example, a Biotech innovation park, the Techno Park, where a company can easily start. Or an example at the EMPA, you have an incubator. So I had projects that I realized somehow they are connected to them. I connected them. 1 day later, they could pitch in front of a jury. The next day, they started working at this EMPA. So that's really fantastic that Switzerland is offering many places where an entrepreneur can easily start. And this is interesting also for bigger companies because they are looking for innovations, for what is happening. And in Zurich, they find locations where they can tap into talent pools, into future developments. And this is why these companies established a lot of research centers here. And this is an example, Facebook. They came here, they acquired a project out of Wyss. Wyss is an ETH alumni that already dedicated more than 200 million for research, a philanthropist. And just to give you an example what they made, they took a liver, some patient died, the liver had cancer, they took it out, nobody wanted the liver with cancer. They put it on a machine and they healed it. And after it was healed, they implanted it to a patient that wouldn't have get a liver because he was sick and now he's living. So these kind of projects are happening here, and that's pretty fantastic. And there are a lot of centers that is development happening. Let me point out here on this slide that the valley, this is in Kemptal, as you might know, it's Givaudan that acquired here an old factory of Nestlé. And from the beginning, for Givaudan, which is a big player, it was clear they want to have an open innovation campus. So they were open that companies, spin-offs and startups came today because they knew we want to be innovative. And one of the companies that's scaling up there is Planted, a Swiss ETH spin-off company. They doubled now the production. They have more than 120 people there. They doubled their production just recently from 500 kilos to a ton per hour. So 1 ton of planted vegetable meat is produced here from a startup company. That's one example. And another I will point out is the Innovation Park. On the next slide. Yeah, this is another one. It's just next to the airport. So the circle it's called. Here you can see the plane, Zurich Airport, and this is a huge project. And Microsoft moved in here from Wallisellen, Oracle, so the ICT, Information and Communication Technology, but also University Hospital, and here an R&D cloud for life sciences, and also a pharma company doing research on a computer, 300 people. So this is a hub, a digital health hub. These things are happening here. And this is Innovation Park. Here you can see one of the focused areas. This is a former airfield in Dübendorf. It's still an airfield, actually. And the universities are present there. And these are the focused areas, and one of them is advanced manufacturing. So, of course, IoT will happen here. It's really the university and the industry will be in this park, developing the best prototypes of the future, the best production sites, and so on. The scaling will be somewhere else, but the prototypes will be developed here. You can see robotics, mobility, space and aviation are other topics. My last slide is so Zurich is attractive for companies, not only if they're interested in Industry 4.7, if they are open to access a great innovation ecosystem, an open innovation ecosystem, because we see companies that maybe they start in Industry 4.0, but then they end up in entering life sciences, which they didn't think from the beginning. And that's, I think, key for the future, that companies develop across clusters. And IoT in particular, or also augmented reality and AI are cross-sectoral or cross-cluster is a cross-cluster technology that covers all these sectors that you can see here. And this is what makes it so interesting for the companies. And yeah, my name is Matthias, and if you are interested in tapping into this ecosystem and want to have some contacts or do more evaluation, I'm happy to guide you along that way.
Thank you, Matthias. So, is there someone that wants to ask a question? From the audience? Okay, so just one question. Among the possible IoT business cases, what do you think is the most challenging, in your view, to be deployed here in Switzerland in the coming years? And why, eventually?
I'm not so much the IoT expert. I think in logistics there lies a great opportunity. We saw the crisis emerging, and logistics currently is incredible. So only 30% arrives on time. Then we had the lockdown in Shanghai, so the container ships are queuing up. So in logistics, I think there is great potential. And yeah, so of course, building technology, you know this better than I do. What I see is that the medium-sized companies, they still can make a big step if it comes to innovation. And this is also what the government is interested in, and the Canton of Zurich, that we want to foster medium-sized or small companies also on their way to digitalization, to IoT. Yes. I think this is a challenge, that the companies, they say, yeah, we make a project, we try something, IoT, let's make a pilot project. This is like a first step. I think this is a hurdle to take. Of course, the big companies usually they do it, but the medium size or smaller not so much. And this is, I think, in Switzerland you have everything, even for medium-sized companies to try it. And you should just try it. You should contact the companies here, Miromico, IoT Business Hub, and they will have some partners for you to think about pilot projects. So it's not the companies have to mind the perfect concrete case.
Yes.
It's really you can talk to academics and industry partners here, and they will bring up any solution for your industry.
Co-develop, yes.
That's also actually how our EMPA and others are working. They go actively to the industry and present their developments. It's not only the case that the industry is coming to academia, it's also the other way around.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Matthias.